We're so glad to join you today, and I'm very excited to have three of our student leaders who are well known and and are great community members for us. And I'll have them introduce themselves. Our panel today, as Amanda said, please ask us some questions. We have some favorite questions that we like to ask all our student leaders as part of this panel to give you a flavor of what Roger Williams has to offer. So I'm really excited for you to meet Chris, Haley, and Nikki today. They'll all introduce themselves with their name, where they're from, and maybe what they've been part of on campus. And then we'll open it up for questions. So Chris, we'll start with you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Christopher Costa. I'm a senior this year in economics and a political science double major and a legal studies minor. And then for my involvements on campus, I'm the student body president on Student Senate, and then I am also an RA in Willow 22.
And for those of you keeping track, Chris is from just over the bridge from campus and is from Portsmouth, Rhode Island. So Nikki, would you like to let the audience know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Nikki. I'm a sophomore at Roger Williams. I'm a legal studies and political science major. I'm from Plainville, Mass. And I'm a part of the Inter-Residence Hall Association, and I'm one of the Hall Council coordinators, and a part of Film Club as well.
Thanks, Nikki. And we're going to turn it over to our last student leader, Haley Watt.
Hi, everyone. I'm Haley Watt. I'm a senior at Roger. I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm a marketing major and graphic design minor. Currently, almost not anymore, I'm the executive chair of the Interclass Council, ICC. I work in the design center, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I will say, Chris, Nikki, and Haley both talked about the Student Senate, the Inter-Residence Hall Association, or IRHA, and the Interclass Council, or ICC. Some of our largest organizations on campus. Our campus has 8 major organizations and almost 80 student clubs, so there's really something for everyone. And we hope that as you join us on campus, you join our involvement community. Unfortunately, Chris and Haley are transitioning as they move on to other things. So we have some great senior leaders who are leaving us, and we'll need incoming students to take those seats to really make campus run. I know Nikki, Chris, and Haley won't tell you this, but our student leaders are really the backbone of campus. They help make decisions. They help in the day-to-day to kind of create our community, and they're seen as those role models on campus that other students know who they are. In fact, it's quite amazing to know how many people actually know who they are on campus that they may not know. And that's just part of our campus culture of being that friendly campus that our student leaders want to really bridge out. So at this point, feel free to add questions in the chat, as Amanda said. And I guess the question that I'll start off for the students while people are typing is, if you can think far back, why did you choose Roger Williams? And I don't know who wants to start.
I can start. So I didn't know Roger Williams existed. My sister went to Bryant University, and so I spent kind of my high school career visiting her for lacrosse games in Rhode Island and fell in love with the state. Mostly, it's a lot like my hometown. It's just with the distance that wasn't too far away from my family, which I enjoyed. And so I knew I kind of wanted to be in Rhode Island if possible. So my sister said, choose what schools you want to visit and we'll do a weekend tour. And so I had gone to a few schools. When I was doing my research, my dad had gone to Johnson and Wales, and he said, there's this school down by the water that you would really like the location of. I used to play Frisbee there in the 80s. Like, he told me this whole story. So I added Roger Williams to the list of tours I wanted to go see. I happened to show up on an open house day, and from that tour, I just kind of loved it for the community feel. I felt like I fit right in because it's more of a smaller school. It's not like super small, but it was a good size, and obviously, like, the location is beautiful, and I'm sure Chris and Nikki will touch on other points that are good selling points.
Want to go, Nikki, or do you want me to go?
You can go. I'll go last.
So basically, like Carol touched on earlier, I'm from Portsmouth, Rhode Island, so I would drive by Roger Williams like a lot of times, and I always noticed like how really nice the campus looked. And when I started looking for schools, I kind of decided that I wanted to get like a more of a smaller to medium sized school for those smaller class sizes. And then other schools that I got into didn't give me a very competitive financial aid package. And so like when I looked at my list of schools, Roger Williams had like that small class size that I liked. They gave me a good financial aid package. And it was also like close to home. So it was kind of like the perfect fit for me. And so I decided to go there or here.
And then I chose Roger Williams because one of my best friends went there, so I visited her frequently. And when I started going on tours there, like Haley said, it's just a really nice community and you feel very welcomed. And I didn't get that vibe from any other schools that I toured, and that vibe definitely transferred over to academic life and living there as well. Also, the size, classes are small, so I don't feel like just another number. You actually make connections with your professors. So that's what I really liked. And I also am an hour away, so it wasn't like too far, but just far enough.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing all that about it. As you can see, each student's experience is different, and I think that's what makes Roger the best, that people come for all different reasons, but really kind of connect as our community. So again, if you'd like to put a question in the chat, feel free. But Nikki, you talked a little bit about classes in academic life. Could you all explain to us maybe an example of a project or an internship you've done in your academic life at Roger? That could be a group project or something that you're a part of that either was a challenge for you or that you're proud to have accomplished while you were here at Roger.
Yeah, we want to just keep going in the same order, guys?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so as a graduating senior looking for jobs in the midst of a pandemic, it's definitely a lot of uncertain feelings. But what I will say is there's still that level of confidence I have because of my academic journey at Roger and the support I've had from professors and even my peers that I've gotten to work with in the business school specifically. One thing that I've been able to be a part of is NSAC, the National Student Advertising Competition, where we basically make an entire advertising campaign and make commercials for the brand of the year, basically. And that's been an amazing opportunity I've been able to do for 2 years that on a job interview I had yesterday, I was able to talk about, and they have already followed up with me saying they want to learn more about me. So I think the experiential learning aspect that you get through academics at Roger is so beneficial because it prepares you for the real world more than just taking tests.
Yeah, so what you'll find if you come to Roger is like you really do make those like close connections with your professors. So like one of my like best academic experiences is one of my economics professors was talking about how he was going to be working on this project for a semester, and it sounded really interesting. It was basically researching one of the first ever cartels there were in the United States. And so for those that don't know what a cartel is in like an economic sense, it's basically when a bunch of suppliers will band together and only buy their products and the things that they need to make their products at a specific price so that they can make a lot more money instead of like competing against each other. And so what happened is I actually set up an independent study with that professor and another student in one of our classes. And basically one of my classes for my semester was working on this project with him, researching like old texts. We went to like the Newport Historical Museum, and then we also went to like the whaling museum that was around here, kind of getting some information and like studying that that first cartel. And that was a really cool experience that I probably wouldn't have been able to get at like a much larger school.
Yeah, so actually right now I'm taking a legal writing class, and we're doing like a legal review paper. And the topic that I'm doing, my professor, who I've built a really good connection with, is actually writing a paper similar to the topic, and she is taking me and another student on through the summer, and we're going to write jointly a legal paper that's going to be published in a law review article, review journal. So that's kind of an experience that I probably wouldn't have gotten until I got to law school. So it's really awesome to get that kind of experience in undergrad before move on to the rest of the world.
Perfect. Thanks so much for sharing that academic experience. It's great to hear those things, and some of the things I wasn't aware of that you had all been a part of. I talked at the beginning of this when we spoke about your student organizations. Do you think you could each give a little brief description about your student org and what they do on campus and what they're known for?
Yeah, so the Interclass Council, ICC, I've been a part of it since my freshman year. Our mission is just to kind of hold and host class events to create memorable college experiences. So it's very similar to student council in high school if you're a part of that. We have the class cabinets and we have our e-board, and we all work hard to just plan campus-wide as well as class-specific events. Anything from, you know, a freshman fall barbecue up until senior commencement ball, which is like a huge prom. So it's been a really fun experience. There's about 25 of us on the org, and every year you just build new relationships, and you have 25 instant friends that you can kind of relate with and, you know, get through your academics with and just kind of talk about life with. So it's nice to have those built-in friends of all ages.
Awesome. So as I said earlier, I'm part of the Student Senate at Roger. And basically what that does is we advocate on behalf of students towards the administration. So we kind of act as like that middle person. So if there are like ever issues in student life or academic life, we'll be able to like communicate those and work on those with the administration to get them solved. And then we also charter our more than 80 clubs on campus too. So we provide funding, and orgs also. So we provide funding for all of them. So when they want to put on like extra events and things, they can come and ask us for more money. Some other things we do is we provide scholarships to students that apply at the end of the semester. So we give away scholarships to students. And then we'll also like write bills and resolutions asking the administration for things. One thing that we worked on last semester is we actually worked with one of our club's Femme Society and wrote a resolution, gave it to the administration to provide free menstrual hygiene products to all of the bathrooms on campus. And so now in every major academic building, and I think a lot of the other buildings, those are like available for students. And so like that's just one thing of one example of like how Senate has worked to benefit the student body. So that's kind of mainly what we do.
And I'm a part of the Inter-Residence Hall Association, so you can probably guess we deal with the residence halls. And our goal as an organization is to build an inclusive and environment within the residence halls and give people leadership opportunities. So within each residence hall, there's a hall council, and people can run for leadership positions such as like president, vice president, so on. And those hall councils put on really cool events and advocate within the residence halls. And we do it on a bigger scale in a sense, and we watch over all the hall councils. And we also put on larger events, like our staple event is late night breakfast. So the last day of classes, we have breakfast from 9 to 11, and everybody, it's like a great community like building experience. We have faculty, staff, even the president comes and serves all the students breakfast, and it's a really fun event. And we kind of just try and make it the residents experience like a nice, inclusive, and community building place.
Nikki, not to put you on the spot, but I do know when we started this chat, you were talking about a leadership conference that you got to go on that represented not only Roger Williams, but IRHA. Do you want to share a little bit about that experience?
Yeah.
With here, just see what other leadership development outside of being a leader on campus that IRHA has afforded you.
Yeah, so IRHA is not only at Roger Williams, but at all other schools. And we get the opportunity to go to at least 3 leadership conferences a year. So I just recently went to Maine with IRHA, and there I got the privilege of sitting in on President's Boardroom. So I got to learn a lot from other schools, what they're doing events-wise, advocacy-wise, and I got to vote on a lot of cool things. But also they have educational sessions there. So actually one of our students got the top 10 educational session, and they just teach you leadership skills, like, for example, listening before speaking and how important that is within communication, different, like, how to plan an event, or different inclusivity and diversity things. And it just gives you an extra opportunity. You don't even have to be in a leadership position. You can be a general member and attend, and it just is really awesome to build your resume and learn from other people across the nation in different inter-residence halls associations.
Thanks, Nikki. I'm really glad you got to have that experience to go to NEOCUR before all of this uncertainty in the world happened. Hopefully, maybe some of our guests who have joined us today will join IRHA and go on to a conference with you next semester. Nikki, Haley, and Chris talked a little bit about their student experience, and the best part, I would say, of our campus is our student involvement fair, and really trying to get you as students engaged in our community. So every year, our biggest event during our weeks of welcome, which is the first 30 days that new students arrive on campus, we do an event a day. And my personal favorite event that we do during that is our involvement fair. So on a beautiful day, because it's always beautiful on involvement fair day, there's about 90 tables, so you can walk around and kind of shop our different clubs and organizations. Maybe you pick up an election packet to be a class officer, you join the IRHA mailing list, you stop by the Senate table to try to figure out what other clubs are out there. And we do lunch outside that day. So, you grab your lunch, you sit, you make connections with other new students. For some students, they may have class during the involvement fair, or walking through 90 tables is a lot to handle. And something new we're trying this year is a smaller involvement fair where students who are unable to attend, or it seems a little overwhelming, can make an appointment with a student leader in our office, and they will go over all our clubs and organization on that one-to-one basis. We really want to make sure that every student feels and has the opportunity to get involved. So much so that when you join us on campus, we will talk about HawkLink, which is our online engagement tool, and help you to download the Quark app, which will share our campus calendar in the palm of your hand. Our campus, there's a lot going on, and we always want to make sure that students know what is happening. So we've created an app where you can see club meetings, organization meetings, their events, and even some department programming. I just talked about events, and I'd love for the panelists to tell you all what is a favorite campus tradition they have. And knowing that our campus has so many great traditions, I'm probably betting they're not going to repeat themselves. That's a lot of pressure. I'm sorry, panelists.
Yeah, you gave us time to think about it too. Do you guys have one off the top of your heads already? Or?
So I hope I don't take yours. So I'm a really big fan of our spring weekend. It's for those that haven't gone to Roger yet. Basically, it's one of the last weekends that we're on campus, and one of our organizations, CEN, puts on 3 major events, or 2 major events, and then the administration puts on another one. But we basically have a concert every year, a comedian every year, and then it ends with something that we call U-Fest at Roger. So my favorite 2 are U-Fest and the comedian. So like the last 2 years we had Pete Davidson as our comedian, and Joey from Full House, I forget his name. But those events are so fun to go to. I'm a big fan of comedy myself, so like those are really fun to go to with your friends. And then U-Fest is basically this giant outside event that the university puts on for the juniors and seniors, and there's an outside DJ, and it's BYOB, and it's a really fun experience to have it to like close out your year with all of your friends. Those are probably mine.
Thanks so much, Chris. Who wants to go next?
So It's gonna sound weird because we're not having ours, but I've been to the last three. One of my favorite traditions that ICC is fortunate to plan the whole year is commencement ball. Like I mentioned before, it's like a ginormous prom in the Rhode Island Convention Center. And even though we're not going to be able to have ours this year, I've really enjoyed working the last three because it's just a really nice send off for the senior class. And it's been really unique to be on ICC and be able to like see them just enjoy their last like hurrah with their friends and get all dressed up and look beautiful and handsome or whatever it is, and have some good food and just like dance all night and stay in the hotel and just have a good time. So I think that's just a really special sentimental event that we'll definitely miss this year, but it's just a good time.
My favorite tradition is homecoming weekend, which happens in October, and that's like the first weekend that parents and family are like invited to come down, and it's really nice because you first go to school and you want that like independence and don't want to be near family, but then you kind of get that nice connection with them again, and then you can send them off again. But they also during that weekend have a fall festival, which is my favorite. So different clubs will put up tables. There's like pumpkin painting, candy apples, which is my favorite. They also have casino night, which is like I lose, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a nice tradition. And also it's nice to have like your roommates and your friends meet your family, and then vice versa, and kind of build that connection more.
Thanks so much, Nikki. You actually stole mine because homecoming is one of my favorite events. I will talk about a campus tradition that you all have not talked about. Our dining services, which is Bon Appetit, which students rank as one of the highest dining services in the country. And that's not something that we take surveys on. The students actually kind of share that with their peers. And every month they do some types of theme meals. So during November, we have Thanksgiving dinner, and April is the annual steak and lobster. But my favorite meal that they do is our Eat Local Challenge, where all the items that are being cooked that day are brought from 125 miles away or less. So students can really see what's in our community. And for those of you who don't know, Empire Soda is bottled right here in Bristol, and it's always nice to grab, homemade soda right here on campus. So something to kind of look forward to when you join us on campus. So again, if you've joined us, Amanda has already said, feel free to type your questions away. The students would love to answer this, and they have that. So we've got a question from Ariel. Is there a strong presence of school spirit on campus?
I can start there. One of our positions on the ICC e-board is actually our spirit chair. So they're responsible for planning an entire spirit week in the fall, as well as hosting spirit games that sponsor our athletic teams, as well as other spirit initiatives they feel kind of meet student desires for the year. So they kind of take on the responsibility of planning these large-scale campus events that I think help contribute to that. And I think overall, the sense of school spirit is there. I think, you'll be walking in the quad one day and you'll just hear a kid yell, "Here we go, Hawks." And you're like, oh, okay, here we go. So I think everyone's just kind of happy to be in the community. You feel comfortable because you know a lot of your peers. You may not know everyone, but sometimes that's a good thing too. So it's like, for me, it's a good size because you still feel connected to everyone and to the community, and you feel like you're in the know.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I can touch a little bit on that too. What you'll find is that a lot of the people that get involved on campus are the ones that are kind of like most passionate, like with that school spirit. So like, I'm not sure how orientation is going to work this year, but the orientation advisors are like one group of students on campus that I think are like super like passionate and peppy. Like those are like some of the best people on campus. And then also like a lot of your RAs also kind of like really embody that like Roger spirit. So if you start to if you want to like get involved with that school spirit thing, I'd say definitely join a lot of the clubs and orgs, or even just some of those positions on campus, because those are some of the coolest people that I think are on campus.
Yeah, and touching on sports as well, people that may not even know anybody on the team, you always find someone watching sports games and stuff, and that's like a big spirit right there. And we're all supporting each other, even if we don't know each other. It's really great.
Yeah, I think something that's fun that Carol has kind of, I think, started the initiative for the last few years is, I know for our hockey team specifically, or any team really that makes it to like the next level of their conference, we kind of collect a bunch of students outside the rec center as they send off on their bus, and it's just nice for the community to just like cheer them on and say good luck if we're not necessarily able to go to like whatever state they're traveling to. So that's kind of nice. I think that kind of wraps up in a picture like what our school spirit is like.
I think kind of to add on to the students piece, what I always love to see as a staff member is students wear Roger gear. You don't see that random student wearing a Michigan State hat. You see people really caring about Roger. And for a lot of students, Roger is home. And they may not say RW, they'll talk about it as going home to Roger. And I think that's always a great thing to see is, you know, as the three panelists said, we've talked about athletics, events you can go to, but I think part of school spirit is just being a good hawk, is holding the door for people and saying hi. And when you're in the dining hall, that poor kid with crutches, you're asking if they need help. And I think that's some of the school spirit at Roger Williams that people don't see is people may not be friends with each other, but we hold the door, we smile at people, and we care about our community, both from faculty, staff, and students. We have another question that came in from Alexandra. What is it like to be an RA? So Chris, you've been an RA, so hopefully you can answer that question for us.
Yeah. I've been an RA for the last 3 years, and I've been a freshman RA for all 3 of those years. So I've lived in Maple, Cedar, and Willow, which are mainly the freshman, all the freshman residence halls. It's like some of the best experiences I've had at school, to be honest with you. I've made like more than half my like best, closest friends are RAs. And you get really close relationships with all the people that are on your staff. But also like the student side of it, it's really cool to like be able to be a resource for the people that you're living with. Because like coming to school, it can be like kind of daunting for a lot of freshmen, and there's just so many questions you might have just about like how do I get my window fixed in my room? Like I don't know how to go about that. So like being able to like address those concerns and like help my students like learn how to do all these different things is a really cool experience. So not only do you get to like work with cool people, you also get to meet a lot of fun residents too.
Thanks so much, Chris. And if anyone on this chat is going to be a commuter student, all our commuter students also have a commuter assistant, very similar to an RA. They're going to help our incoming commuter students kind of connect and engage with our community. So every new student will be assigned one of those student leaders. We've got another question. What do you wish you had known that you feel an incoming student can benefit from? Oh, here's the advice we've been dying to hear. You know, what do you want to tell, you know, new students?
That's a really good one. I would say kind of 2 things. I think the first one you've probably heard before, just like how fast it goes. Senior year just snuck up on us, and Chris and I are almost in the real world now, so don't know when that happened. But the second thing I'd say is just like to always stay open-minded and like open to new opportunities. Carol has always said it too, like you're only in college for 4 years. Now is your chance to try whatever you feel like trying. You're not necessarily going to get those opportunities once you leave college. So I think it's important to just stay open-minded and meet new people and go to a random meeting one week just to see if you like it. It could turn into 4 years of you being on this organization that you just happen to fall upon. So I think just staying open to anything really, and it'll take you in a bunch of different directions.
Yeah, like my biggest piece of like advice to like incoming students is always to like get involved. A almost all of my friends I've met through like my involvements, whether it be like RA or Senate, even like intramural soccer. Like those are the people that you're going to meet that are going to have like those same interests as you, same interest as you, and that you're really going to like develop those friendships with over like your 4 years. I'm friends with way more people that I like from my involvements than I am for with the people that I like lived with freshman year. So I would say definitely like put yourself out there. Like I have like one story where I was like literally my freshman year, I wanted to play intramural soccer, but I didn't know anybody else at the time. So I just signed up on our software, and I went in as like a free agent, and I messaged some captains and just like really put myself out there. And like this team of all seniors put me on their team. And so like here I am like a freshman. I don't know any of these people, but they were like so nice and so welcoming. And like I made a bunch of like senior friends like the first month into school just because I put myself out there and like followed my passions and my interests.
My advice comes from the academic side. You may come in with a major and you might come out with a different major than you came in with. I came in as a communications, and now I'm legal studies and political science. You know, take the classes that you think are interesting in your first year, because that's the year that you can really explore different subjects, and then use that to figure out what you want, because you might know what you want, but in reality you might not know. So just like Haley said, keep an open mind in that sense.
Yeah, and I was just going to add on to Chris's point about getting involved, and like how I as well have made like most of my friends through involvement. I know it probably sounds like we're just some exclusive group. We're not. Like I've met dozens of new people every year I've been involved. So it's not like I've had the same group all 4 years. And I think something that wraps it up is, you know, like yesterday, usually Wednesday afternoons, we have a class of 2020 committee meeting. There's not much for us to be meeting about right now anymore since we're all home, but we met anyway just to say hey, and we played like draw something. Like we just hung out for like an hour on Zoom because we wanted to like still have that time together. So I think that kind of wraps up like what our friendships through involvement look like.
I think another piece of advice is don't be afraid to ask a question. Are you in the right classroom? You know, as Nikki said, am I taking the right classes? You know, if you get lost in a building, ask anybody. Either email a different office if you want to get involved, if you just want to know what they do, or you just need to know where the tutoring center is. I think a lot of times students see our titles or positions on campus as something that's scary. You know, our president and vice president of student life eats lunch in the dining hall, as some of our academic deans do. Some of our faculty walk around campus or bring their children to different theater events on campus or homecoming, like Nikki said. It's a great time to meet people and to know really who they are. So don't ever be afraid to ask a question, because maybe someone else doesn't know the answer to it that you're with, and you're helping to share that information. So we really appreciate the questions coming in. If you have one, please feel free to type it in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer it.
Yeah, and I just want to say it's probably, I can't imagine like your decision-making process right now. It's probably extremely difficult. And I know to start, we all kind of talked about like our initial tours on campus that kind of hooked us. So, you know, if you haven't had one of those and you have any questions about anything regarding that, feel free to ask as well, because I'm sure it's a very difficult time for you guys.
Carol, I would love to know how they balance the outside of classroom with everything going on inside the classroom.
All right.
All right. So I would say being involved has helped me in my academics because I'm way better with my time management skills, and it's kind of like the less free time I have, you know, I need to have time to do my work. So I think that just in general, being involved keeps me more responsible and more on task with my homework as well.
So this helps me stay sane, basically. So in my position, like I have to have a lot of like meetings with like other senators or sometimes administrators. So like sometimes my schedule can get really hectic. So it's really like I literally have a planner, write everything in it when it's due, things like that. And I try and make sure I'm on top of things. So like just like Haley said, like if you get involved, like you're definitely going to make some time management skill improvements because it's kind of necessary. But I've also found it like very, very like manageable. After your first semester, you have a lot more discretion on how you want to set up your class schedule. So you can really like work around things that you want to be involved with so that you can find time in the day to do everything that you want. So that's basically how I do it.
Yeah, Chris stole mine. I was going to say planners will be your best friend. They're mine. But also, it's not like high school where you got tons of work every day. Professors really give you work that's like actual gonna help with your class and not just busy work. So that's also nice, not having thousands of pounds of homework. Also where you have all this freedom and not like the set schedule of high school where you went in at 7 and you came out at like 2 or 3. It's really easy to kind of figure out what you want to do at what time of day. Also, you don't have anybody telling you when to go to bed or when to wake up. So that's also helpful with deciding when you want to do things.
Yeah, and I think too, just to add, anytime a new member joins ICC, I always encourage them to add their position to their email signature, because what I found over the years is that when professors kind of see that and associate you as being an involved student, an involved person in the like campus community, they have a different level of kind of respect for you, and they understand where you're coming from. If maybe your homework isn't the best work you've ever done, they kind of give you that benefit of the doubt because they know you're working hard in a lot of different areas.
And I would just we've talked with student leaders, but for anyone on here that's going to be a student athlete or hold some other leadership positions, is the whole point is we say it's a student leader and a student athlete, and the student part really comes first. So as some of these student leaders have heard me say before, go to class, don't worry about this. We want you to excel. We want to see you be the best you can be so you can make Dean's List or get that scholarship based on all your hard work. And then while we were chatting, we have, I guess, our final question is, what is the area around Roger like? Anyone want to talk about like life in Bristol?
Yeah, so I really fell in love with Bristol, like at the same time I toured Roger. It's a lot like where I live at home. It's just really nice. It's like a lot of small mom and pop like restaurants and diners, or not really diners, but like delis and stuff. And just being having the water around you is so nice as a college student. I think there's a lot of stress and anxiety that comes in different waves over the years, and it's kind of having that escape to like Cold State Park or even all the way down to Newport is so nice to just be able to like decompress and enjoy the surrounding area.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I love going out to dinner like downtown Bristol, like on weekends and stuff like that. And what you will see is like a lot of students will like just go to Cold State Park to like just hang out for a couple hours. Like it's really nice. You can go for walks, ride your bike, things like that. And then also some other things that like my friends and I have done, like you can take the Ripta to Providence too if you wanted to. It's like $2 for a Ripta ride to go to Providence, and then $2 to come back. So that's really fun too. And then Carol, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like students get like a Ripta pass where they can they get like 8 rides for $2 or something like that, or like 8 rides.
Our incoming students this past year were able to get a Ripta pass so that you could go into Providence, as Chris was saying, but also go into Newport as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so so as a freshman you can't have a car, so it's still really easy to go to like all the places that you would want to go to, even without that.
Yeah, also where we are is pretty nicely located. We're like 20 minutes from Newport, so that means in the fall and when it gets to the spring, beach trips on the weekend. You're only 30 minutes from Providence, so you can go to the mall, go downtown. But also Bristol is just a great little place to walk around. They have a great ice cream shop, I will say. And yeah, and just even us being on the water, there's a little beach down there, like you can just go and hang out. And I just think it's great. It's a great little place that we're located.
Yeah, some of the freshman RIPTA rides are still like the memories my friends and I talk about now. Because it never sounds ideal to take the RIPTA, but those are some of the things we remember the most from our time, and like renting out zip cars for the day. Zip cars are like cars you can kind of rent as a freshman for a few hours at a time. So we talk about those things still, and we're seniors. And then off of Nikki's point, like just taking a walk on the shell path on campus is so beautiful, or studying in GHH is like amazing. And the food on campus is so good. So even if you didn't, or you weren't able to go into Bristol, like just the campus alone, I feel like satisfied.
So much, Nikki, Chris, and Haley, for the advice. Hopefully some of our new students will, join us as involved students, take that walk into Bristol, visit the Shell Path, or at least remember this panel, because they could be sitting on it next year as a student leader.
Excellent. Thanks, Carol. Thanks, everyone. Haley, Christopher, Nikki. If there aren't any last questions, we can wrap it up again. I would encourage you to, again, attend virtual presentations and do some of our virtual tours. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Carol or any of the student leaders. Carol can get you in touch with them. She'll enter some contact information into the chat feature right now. But thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we hope to virtually see you soon.
Thanks so much, Amanda, for the opportunity. Again, if you have questions, email me and I'll make sure the student leaders get to that.